It's crazy. I mean, she at least for now is temporarily being relieved of this. I would imagine, and I've kind of speculated from the beginning, that Taylor didn't have the most active role in It Ends With Us, but Blake was more of just like using her and using her name to push her weight around on the set throughout production. And so now it kind of seems like Taylor's made it clear, like, I didn't have any. I mean, and whether she did or didn't, her team is fighting very hard to stick to that narrative, and they were willing to throw Blake Lively under the bus in order to save themselves.
It's the Pop Report.
So juicy.
Guess who's going to be housed? Not at your apartment.
Who? You?
Who? I mean, I'm housed now. I just finally found a new apartment after looking for godforsaken how much time.
I thought you were unhoused.
I am unhoused and unbothered. No, this week you've been like, what's going on? I'm like, I've just been back and forth with apartment tours this week because found out me, Italian brain rot. I'm gone the first half of the month. My roommate's like, oh, bitch, I'm gone the second half of the month. And I was like, so if we don't find a place this week, we're fucked till July.
Fun.
What's it like to get fucked and not the fun way? I don't know. What's happening with you?
Not much. Just living life.
Living La Vida Loca, Ricky Martin.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we have a lot to get into in this episode. We have a very expedited episode for a very scrumptious, yummy amount of you people. Mr. Zachary's booked and busy on podcasts, so we have a little expedited pop report today. What do you want to get into? Because I feel like Taylor is our top performer in our line of lists.
So much Taylor Swift news, which is
your favorite.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a couple weeks for Taylor Swift, but quite the eventful day for Blake Lively too.
Yeah, so I'm sure, I'm not going to be dumb. I'm sure you know the latest news about Tay-Tay, not only in music, but also on this court update. You know both?
Yes.
Okay, which one do you want to start with? Because I feel like
There was an article that came out this morning about Taylor Swift and about Scooter Braun and how apparently he's trying to work out a deal to where she can buy back all of her old music.
Yeah. Interesting.
Interesting. I also was like, convenient timing. You know, I kind of felt like maybe her team was planting this story to deflect from all the Blake Lively stuff. That way they can, you know, flood the news with something semi-positive. And also somebody that can like be a villain that can kind of, you know, bring Taylor Swift into a more positive light. You know, Scooter Braun, Scooter out of the deal, yada, yada, yada. We hate Scooter, all the things, right? So it was interesting. And then we got a new bit of news, and that's that Taylor Swift, that Justin Baldoni's legal team has withdrawn their subpoena for Taylor Swift and her attorneys, Venable. And so initially, they were subpoenaing Taylor Swift to see what documents she had that were relevant to It Ends With Us, including messages with Blake Lively. And furthermore, they issued a subpoena to Taylor's legal team because they believed that they had information, emails, some sort of
timelines,
correspondence,
screenshots.
That would prove that Blake Lively tried to extort Taylor Swift and pressure her into releasing a statement of support, and also that Blake Lively had asked Taylor Swift to delete text messages. So they were going to prove that Blake Lively and her team were witness tampering and trying to spoil evidence. And so they issued the subpoenas, and today, I believe, Taylor Swift's subpoena was due. There was an answer that was due. Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's attorney, said that they were talking in good faith and that they were hopeful that they could come to some sort of understanding. And I guess they came to some sort of understanding because Taylor Swift and her attorneys gave over documents to Brian Friedman, and whatever deal they struck
in there
behind the scenes, they got something, and the Baldoni parties or the Wayfair parties have withdrawn their subpoena of both Taylor Swift and of Venable.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that jumped out to me is like, it's kind of like a settlement. Like, you settled for something. Either you gave them something or said, hey, like, there ain't really nothing there.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why. So they must have something really juicy couture up their sleeve now to be able to use in court, or that maybe option 2, which I don't believe it's this, is there really isn't anything and Taylor's going to reveal some sort of skeletons in Justin's closet if they go that route. So I don't know. I don't think it's option 2. It's not really that likely, It's still plausible, but it's been teeter-totter back and forth, new teeter-totter, and this song and dance is Papa's tired.
It's crazy. I mean, she at least for now is temporarily being relieved of this. I would imagine, and I've kind of speculated from the beginning, that Taylor didn't have the most active role in It Ends With Us, but Blake was more of just like using her and using her name to push her weight around on the set throughout production. And so now it kind of seems like Taylor's made it clear, like, I didn't have any... I mean, and whether she did or didn't, her team is fighting very hard to stick to that narrative, and they were willing to throw Blake Lively under the bus in order to save themselves.
What do you think is the piece of info that probably gave them the right to, like, withdraw the subpoena?
Yeah, well, Brian Friedman said that he got a voicemail. He got a voicemail back in February from somebody very close to Taylor Swift. It's now believed to have been Taylor Swift's dad that called Brian Friedman and said, hey, I have information that's going to be helpful. Brian Friedman took the call. They have since corresponded a few times since February. And according to Brian Friedman, that source told them that Blake asked Taylor to delete text messages, number 1, and number 2, that Blake Lively's attorney threatened Taylor Swift's attorney, saying that we will out 10 years of text messages if you don't issue a statement of support following the Super Bowl, because obviously Blake was absent from the Super Bowl and they wanted Taylor Swift to publicly, take her side. Taylor has refused to take her side, has refused to issue any public statements. And so it's believed that it's the call log and probably some emails, because Friedman said that he, based off of his source, had information that Taylor Swift's attorney emailed Blake Lively's attorney, basically saying, don't ever try to extort me again.
Look what you made me do.
Boom.
Yeah, boom.
The email, I'm pretty sure that correspondence is what was turned over to Baldoni's team, which they will now use to fight back against Blake Lively.
Boom, clap, sound of my drum. Wow.
Crazy.
Crazy girl. And at the same time, this whole, like, Shamrock Holdings situation, it's just like, girls trying to catch a break too right now. Whoever knows what's going on, or maybe that Handmaid's Tale music thing came in last minute. I don't know. Whoever works hard, get your coin. If you are Taylor's team of publicity or legal, you all are making puzzle pieces left and right throughout her discography, and you're probably making magic happen throughout these last few weeks. That's all I'm going to say.
It is funny, though, because there was a new article that came out that Taylor Swift says she wishes she never met Blake Lively. New humiliation for Lively as singer outs glaring red flags she missed during their 10-year friendship. And so we have sources that are coming out and talking about how Taylor is done with Blake, and she wishes that she never trusted her. And then there was also a statement. So 3 sources have confirmed, 3 news outlets with their own individual sources have now confirmed that the information that was turned over from Taylor Swift's team, it says Taylor's lack of involvement proves that Blake lied about several very important details to this case. Furthermore, the court now has information that is documented to show that Blake's attorney did in fact threaten to leak Taylor's private text messages. This is backed up by evidence. So I'm now assuming Justin Baldoni's team is going to come out swinging. I just don't know when Blake's going to fold, or if she's going to really take this all the way. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but at the same time, I'm still just like, how much further are you going to allow yourself to go through this embarrassment?
I mean, let's look at it this way too. So when we talk about Taylor Swift, we have seen her like in different circles of people. We've seen her, around specific people. Todrick Hall, for example. We no longer see Todrick Hall front facing. Like, Todrick got caught in a lot of different scandals and more. Very much true. We don't see front facing stuff. You may not see after this a front facing Blake and Taylor together, like dependent on what's going on. So maybe they're hiding, maybe they're behind closed doors hanging out, but like it really will speak also if you will publicly be with somebody at events and try to make appearances, whatever it may be. I don't know. I definitely don't think the relationship's going to be in a good place after this, though.
No.
Look what you made me do.
It's funny. I was listening to Khloe Kardashian's podcast this morning, and she had Kourtney on. And this is the first of her sisters to come on the podcast. And it was funny because Kourtney is so not in touch with reality. She was talking about like parenting because she has her new baby Rocky that she shares with Travis Barker, and just some of the things that were coming out of Kourtney's mouth were wild. Like she says that she doesn't believe kids should be going to school. She doesn't understand the purpose of school.
What?
She says that she's doing attachment parenting, but it's like very attached. She said her baby's not on a schedule at all, that, you know, when her baby decides to nap, he can nap and he can nap for as long as he wants, and she holds him every time he naps.
Bitch, I don't have time for that.
She says that one time the baby napped for 5 hours straight,
and she held on for dear life.
Him for 5 hours straight, which is crazy. Yeah, just the things that she was saying. She was also saying she now only works 1 day a week. And Khloe kind of joked, and she's like, what, for like 2 hours? And she's like, yeah, like usually about 2 hours. And Khloe's like, that's all you work is 2 hours per week?
Jesus. Makes sense why Lemmy is not in her like creative hands as much.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. And then she also got into parenting. Or like their parenting growing up with Kris and Robert Kardashian and Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn. And so she said that her and Bruce back in the day used to have it out, that they would not, wouldn't get along. That I guess he was always trying to tell her what to do. And Khloe's like, I had such a different experience. Because Khloe said that it felt like Bruce was never trying to be their dad, that he always respected Robert Kardashian's role. And then Kourtney came in and she was just like, well, you know, he and I would have screaming matches and we would get mad at each other. He would, you know, yell at me, or I would try to call my dad and he would hang up the phone on my dad. Like, you know, she's like, my experience was just very different. And so they were just comparing their upbringings. And Khloe's like, it's so wild that we grew up in the same house and had such
different parenting.
Yeah. And then I guess now that Bruce has become Caitlyn, like it doesn't seem like none of them have great relationships with her. Like,
who wants to be with Caitlyn?
I just feel like she really threw everybody under the bus, and like
she's a walking conundrum. Like she says one thing and acts on the other, and then like tries to out all their secrets and whatnot, and was just like, no,
wants to be invited to all the Christmas parties, and
like not the nicest when the family tried to give you a lot of support, like. But also there's a lot of stuff behind closed doors we probably don't hear about probably what happened with these conversations leading up to her transition. So,
yeah.
What a time, child. Obviously, if you like the Pop Report, like and subscribe. We see you in the comments saying like and subscribe. Do the damn thing.
Do the damn thing.
Thank you for all the comments that you have put on YouTube. You guys, I think that's the most active place you all are, is YouTube. So thank God. But we have other news to get to in this expedited episode, this yummy, delicious episode. And I think we should talk about what's going on in our Watch or Skip. Because when you watch this, obviously we're a day recording ahead of time. That's just plain and simple. It is the truth. It is tea. We tonight are going to the Big Mouth premiere. Let me bring Mr. Zachariah. And we'll be covering the Big Mouth premiere. And by the time this comes out, Big Mouth is out. I got to watch the first 2 episodes of Big Mouth, which, did you know they're on 8 seasons? I don't know. No. I was like, I blink and we're already so deep. This is the final season. And it's kind of sad to think when like one of a staple show closes. Did you ever watch Big Mouth?
No.
Really?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so fucking funny. It's just like these kids who are in high school, middle school, going through the ages, and just like their hormones and like their everything about puberty jumps out. So they have these. No, I mean, some of the kids.
Gay, why are you covering the premiere?
Well, one of the characters is, but like they talk about like when you're growing up and you're talking about exploring things and you're talking about like, I want to jerk off. Do I have feelings for a dude? Everyone's like, I don't know. I'm just a hormonal teenager. So in this season, I watched the first 2 episodes, and there are gay things that happen. I don't know if I ever like want to give away like what happens, because then people are like, oh, I already know what's gonna happen. So,
well, you work for a gay publication. I would assume that your coverage is going to be gay.
I meant like, yes, of course, but like I don't want to know if it's sometimes like, do we tell all the full details of a show to everyone listening, and then they're like, well, you spoiled it for me, like. But I will say this: the funny part is, the gay character, he is like, I've never given head, and he's like, do I give head to my straight friend? And does the straight friend want head? And none of them have had blowjobs before. So I was like, this is so funny. Like the concept of trying to approach your straight friend and be like, can I give you a blowjob? I've never had experience. Because he can't find anybody to give a blowjob to. And I'm like, I can't. Like, didn't have this rite of passage in high school for me. We had one gay per high school growing up. And yeah, like, I was one of 65 in a graduating class. So was not homeschooled like a Kardashian.
Well, they weren't homeschooled. They all go to school.
Well, I mean, like what Chloe wants for her kids, like doesn't want the education, wants to be like involved. Public education, that is. But yeah, I'm excited. It's kind of nice to go out into the field. This is my first week not being at 2 publications. I can breathe. I just locked in an apartment, so I don't have to be touring anymore. So I feel like I've done a lot of big life changes, and now I can do the damn thing. You know, it's kind of hard just to balance between podcast, work, other job, looking for an apartment, crying, going on a work trip, going on a personal trip. Then you're like, Zach, how are you? And you're like, I'm fine. And you're like, figure it out, girl.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Speaking of figuring out, we need to talk about Jojo Siwa. Did you see
not gay anymore?
Did you see the interviews she's doing at Epic Universe? Because first of all, wild location to do interviews. Second of all, everyone's now like, Chris, like, what are you doing? And they're like, she's like, yeah, like, Chris is awesome.
Mickey Rourke made her go straight, like he promised.
Don't bring Mickey Rourke into this. I watched her interview with E that she did, and Kelty, and there's this like British Australian guy, whoever he is. He's like, Chris is awesome. He's one of my closest mates. Like, whatever happens, I'm just happy. Like, you all just seem so happy. And she's just so vividly uncomfortable and like not sure what to say. But I'm like, of course, girl. We'll watch you on TV. And we've kept up with the whatever it is. The breakup, makeup, no longer together, not dating Chris, dating Chris. Everyone's going to pry at it.
Do you think that they're dating?
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe when she was gay, it was just she was just going through a phase.
This podcast is going to get reported for like derogatory use of LGBT people. No, I don't know. It's like when you're not identifying with the word lesbian and she's identified with the word queer now. What does that mean? Like for her, don't know. Don't know if that means she's interested in men and women. Don't know.
She's either bi or she's straight.
Bicon. She is the CEO of Gay Pop. Saw that interview also with Evan that she just did. So she has a tattoo that says CEO of Gay Pop, and that was what people were calling her after she said, I want to make gay pop. And she's like, I ran with it. I put it on a tattoo. She let her do her thing. Let it happen. Whatever it going to be, we're going to find out the truth of that eventually. But when everyone's watching it on Big Brother, I think this is the most talked about celebrity Big Brother UK season yet because of that. Yeah. And I still didn't watch it.
No, I don't really care for Big Brother. It depends, but I haven't cared for it recently.
I mean, tracks. And in our last story, have you been keeping up with the Diddy trial like intensively? Because I know you've been on Court TV, but how often are you keeping up with this?
I haven't kept up with it today. I've been following it as much as I can. I just know that Kid Cudi did testify today, or his testimony began. They talked about the exploding car. They showed photos of his car where it shows that there was an explosion. And so now they're trying to say that it was Diddy.
Yeah, I mean, he also wanted to say that like he had a relationship with Cassie. He said, quote, "We were friends and dated briefly." He responded saying that at the time, quote, "She and Sean Combs had some problems and they weren't dating when they began seeing each other in 2011." So I'm trying to think of like what field they're trying to set up by having Kid Cudi testify here, like set the stage of the relationships that Cassie has had and also like the relationships that he had with Diddy, and this specifically the car incident. Like that, the car thing is what I think is really pushing it to be like, we're going to have him testify because we can have suspicion that this is correlated. I think if it was just everything but the car, it would have a difficult time holding up in court. You know, like what does this do for the story?
Well, yeah, I'm assuming that the Homeland Security has some sort of connection. I mean, obviously, when Diddy made the initial threats, he said that it would happen, like something was going to happen to them, but it wasn't going to be at his own hand. So I'm hoping, and well, we also learned that when he tried to extort the mom, and the mom had to pay him the $20,000 to make up for Cassie dating Kid Cudi, that he sent Cassie an email, and so the email was presented in court, and so there are. I mean, I don't know legally if that's going to stick. Making threats and then proving that he followed through on the threats is what the prosecution is going to have to prove, and obviously convince a jury of that. From what I have followed with Cassie's testimony and other pieces that they've brought so far, there wasn't a ton of, in my opinion, compelling evidence that they had to really tie it all together. So I'm hoping Kid Cudi's testimony will ultimately start to put those pieces together and show that like this explosion was done at the hands of Diddy, and this is how, and this is, you know, the threat that was made, and who he acted or who he activated to follow through with it.
Yeah, it was also like in here that he's talked about like a potential break-in that was an exchange where Kid Cudi like basically came home at one point after being with Cassie and said the Chanel gifts he had bought for his family for Christmas had been opened. His dog was locked in the bathroom, which he said was unusual because he let his dog roam in the house. But he's like, it just seemed that there was a break-in that happened. So I think it's trying to set the stage of like blackmail, extortion, and more. Like whatever she told him in confidence, like, bitch, I know what you said. You said it to him. I need to make sure it doesn't get out. I need to scare you to make sure that like I have control. I think that's the stage they're trying to set up. I think they have a potential case with it. It's just, it's a lot. All of it's a lot. Every time someone's brought in, it's like, you're going to learn how much Diddy had a hand in everybody's affairs. And that's, I think, the real thing they're also trying to get after is like how much extortion and racketeering that just doesn't span with like one person, two people. It's like, it's a lot of people who've been affected by Diddy. So that's the path I think that will be set forward on this trial.
See, yeah. It's we're near, or I believe halfway or almost halfway through the trial. So,
and we're at the end of our episode of the Pop Report. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. See, quick and easy. If you're on your way to get ahead, you know, there you're done. 23 minutes. So, hope you enjoyed your little highway visit. Hope you enjoyed your little Mima visit. If you're on a Tinder date, stop for a second and subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting the Pop Report. Yeah, we're close to 100. We have some fun things for 100.
Yay.
Anything you want to leave them with?
Subscribe. That's all you got to do is just subscribe.
Eat it up. All right, well, we'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.